Hello and welcome to Leroy Gaming, where today we are continuing our coverage of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. And today's video, we're going to be looking at the second set of witch spells. So these are going to be spells level 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, if you want to check out the 0 through 4 video, that's going to be popping up as a link in just a moment. Now, as with all my videos, since these are going to be extensive and in-depth, for your convenience, in order to navigate the videos, check out the timestamps in the description below. Now, if you end up liking this video and the content that I am creating to support me and tell me that you want more, keep it simple. Drop a like. Now, with that being said, let us go ahead and jump into this video and look at all the spells. Now, we will start with the 5th level spells. So the very first one is going to be Baleful Polymorph. It's a transmutation spell. Target one creature within close range, so friend or foe. It is a permanent effect, and fortitude save negates. Now, it is a curse. As a standard action, you change the subject into a dog. It can't attack. Its intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores drop to 1. And it loses any ability it had to cast spells or use spell-like abilities. Its movement speed is increased by 10 feet, though. Any polymorph effect on the targets are automatically dispelled when a target fails to resist the effect of Baleful Polymorph. And as long as Baleful Polymorph remains in effect, the target cannot use other polymorph spells or effects to assume a new form. Baleful Polymorph is a curse effect, and corporeal creatures are immune to Baleful Polymorph. So a very, very powerful way to negate a transformer, basically, or a polymorpher. All right, next we have Break Enchantment, an abjuration spell. It affects all allies within 30-foot burst centered on the caster. Now, it's a full round action. This spell frees victims from enchantments, transmutations, and curses. Speaking of a counter to Baleful Polymorph, break enchantments can reverse even an instantaneous effect. For each such effect, you can make a caster level check, 1d20 plus caster level, maximum plus 15, against a DC 11 plus caster level of the effect. Success means that the creature is free of the spell, curse, or effect. Break enchantment only works on spells of 5th level or lower. So, no me gusta when it comes to dealing with spells 6 through 9. Or no bueno. All right, next. We got Cave Fangs. It's a conjuration spell. It's a personal spell. Lasts 10 minutes per level. Saving throw, reflex half, which is interesting. Because since you're casting it on yourself. Standard action. You create a magical trap in an area that causes deadly stalactites or stalagmites to bite an intruder. Well, there you go. Hence the resistance there. The magical trap is triggered whenever an enemy creature moves through the affected area. So I guess you cast it right on where you're standing. The effect of the Cave Fangs depend on whether you create stalactites or stalagmites. You can place these traps anywhere within close range as free action for the duration of the spell. The trap's radius is 5 feet. Each time you place a trap, the spell's duration is reduced by 10 minutes. Stalactites, so shards of rock drop from above, dealing 3d8 points of bludgeon and piercing damage. Reflex saves half. A creature that fails its reflex save is pinned to the ground under stalactites and rubble, gaining the entangled condition until it can free itself with a successful DC 15 strength check or DC 20 mobility check. Or stalagmites, piercing spires of rock erupt from the ground, dealing 3d8 points of piercing damage and knocking the creature prone. Successful reflex save throw halves his damage and avoids being knocked prone. Once the stalagmites appear, they function thereafter as spike stones for 1 minute per caster level and then crumble to dust. Ooh. Next, we have Cloudkill. These names are getting fancy and deadly. Target is all creatures within 20-foot burst centered on target point within medium range. So allies and enemies. Lasts for 1 minute per level, and Fortitude partial save. Standard action. Spell generates a bank of fog. It's vapors, yellowish green and poisonous. These vapors automatically kill any living creature with 3 or few hit dice. No save. A living creature of 4 to 6 hit die is slain unless it succeeds a Fortitude save, in which case it takes 1d4 points of Constitution damage each round while in the cloud. A living creature with more than 6 hit dice takes 1d4 points of Constitution damage each round while in the cloud. A successful Fortitude save halves the damage. Holding one's breath doesn't help, but creatures immune to poison are infected by the spell. Cloudkill moves away from you at 10 feet per round in the direction you are facing, rolling along the surface of the ground. So, very appropriate name in Cloudkill. Next, we have Dominate Person. It's an enchantment. You target one enemy creature within close range and lasts 1 round per level. Will negates, and you have a chance to save every round. So, as a full round action, you can make any humanoid creature fight on your side as if it was your ally. It will attack your opponent to the best of its ability. However, this creature will try to throw off the domination, making will saves each round. Very, very powerful. Next, we have Feeblemind, an enchantment. It targets one enemy creature within medium range. It's a standard action. The target creature's intelligence and charisma scores each drop to 1. The affected creature is unable to use intelligence or charisma-based skills or cast spells. Still, it knows who its friends are and can follow them and even protect them. Subject remains in the state until a heal or break enchantment spell is used to cancel the effect of the Feeblemind. A creature that can cast arcane spells, such as a sorcerer or wizard, takes a -4 penalty on its saving throws. Very interesting. Next, we have Hold Monster. It's an enchantment. Targets one enemy creature within medium range. Lasts 1 round per level. Can save each round. And it will negates. Save each round. It's a standard action. Spell functions like Hold Person, except it affects any living creature that fails its will save. And Hold Person just explains the subject becomes paralyzed and freezes in place. It's aware and breathes normally, but cannot take any action, even speech. And each round you can do a new saving throw. All right, that's Hold Monster. Then we have Mass Inflict Light Wounds. It targets all creatures within a 30-foot burst centered on target point within close range, so be careful as it, again, hits allies and enemies. Will halves if used to damage. Standard action, negative energy spreads out in all directions from the point of origin, dealing 1d8 point of damage, plus 1 point per caster level, maximum plus 25 to nearby living enemies. Like other Inflict spells, it cures undead in its area rather than damaging them. A cleric capable of spontaneous casting, Inflict spells can also spontaneously cast Mass Inflict spells. That's important to know. All right, next we have Mind Fog. It's an enchantment. Targets all creatures within 20-foot burst, centered on target point within medium range. Again, all friends and foes. Lasts 1 round per level. Will negates. As a standard action, Mind Fog produces a bank of thin mist that weakens the mental resistances of those caught in it. Creatures in the Mind Fog take a -10 penalty on wisdom checks and will saves. A creature that successfully saves against the fog is not affected and needs not make further saves even if it remains in the fog. Affected creatures take the penalty as long as they remain in the fog and for 2d6 rounds thereafter. So this is big because you can kind of cast this first, and then if you want to do, one of these other nasty spells that require a will save to survive, they're much less likely to survive a -10 on that will save. Might be darn near impossible. Next, we have Summon Monster 5, Conjuration Spell, and target point within close range, and these monsters are going to last 1 round per level. As a full round action, this spell summons 1d3 extraplanar direwolves, or 1d4 plus 1 extraplanar monitor lizards, or 1 extraplanar redcap if you're evil, or 1 extraplanar Bralani Azada if you are not. Don't ask me what those last two are. I know what an Azada is because of the Mythic Paths. If anybody in the description wants to explain to people what they are, please do. Summon monsters appear where you designate them and act accordingly to the initiative checks. Basically, they're going to auto attack, auto move. You can't control them. Next, we have Waves of Fatigue, a necromancy spell. It affects all creatures within a 30-foot cone. So again, friends and enemies, be careful when you target. Standard action, waves of negative energy render all living creatures in the spell's area fatigued. The spell has no effect on creatures that are already fatigued. And then finally, we have Wracking Ray, a necromancy spell targeting one creature within medium range, and Fortitude will half save. It's a standard action. A ray of sick greenish gray negative energy issues forth from palms of your hand. Make a ranged touch attack against a target. A creature hit by this spell is racked by painful spasm as its muscles and sinews wither and twist. Subject takes 1d4 points of dexterity and strength damage per 3 caster levels you possess, maximal 5d4 each. That's really nasty. Let's say you roll a maximum that, you could lose 20 strength and 20 dex. Ouch. This spell cannot reduce an ability score below 1. A successful forward save halves the damage. And so those are all of the level 5 spells. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the level 6 witch spells. We're going to start with Banshee Blast. It's a necromancy spell. It targets all creatures within a 30-foot cone. So again, friend and foe. Lasts 1 round per level. A reflex halves damage and will negates fear. So it's a standard action. You create a cone of spectral energy resembling screaming elven ghosts that deal 1d4 points of damage per caster level, max 15d4. A successful reflex save halves this damage. Any creature that fails its reflex save must succeed at a will save or become panicked for 1 round per level. Okay, next we have Cloak of Dreams. It's an enchantment. Target is personal, lasts 1 round per level. As a full round action, you are surrounded by a sulfuric aroma. Causes all living creatures within 5 feet of you to make a successful will save each round or fall asleep for 1 minute. Sleeping creatures are helpless but wake up after being wounded. All right, next we have Mass Cure Light Wounds. All creatures within a 30-foot burst centered on target point within close range. So again, friend or foe will halves if used to damage. Now this is interesting. I thought that the level 5 spell also had Cure Light Wounds, Mass Cure Light Wounds. So I'm not sure if this is supposed to be medium. So just keep that in mind because I believe level 5 it Mass Cure Light Wounds. But according to this text, you channel positive energy to cure 1d8 points of damage plus 1 per cast level, maximum plus 25 on each creature in a radius. Like other cure spells, Mass Cure Light Wound deals damage to undead in its area rather than curing them. All right, and each affected undead may attempt a will save for half damage. All right, next we have Greater Dispel Magic, Abjuration Spell. It targets one creature within medium range. It's a standard action. This functions as a Dispel Magic, except that it affects everything within a 20-foot radius burst, or it can dispel multiple spells, starting with the highest level spells and proceeding to lower level spells. So, again, getting rid of spells on you as well as enemies. Interesting. I guess the question here is, though, will this dispel all good spells too? Because it doesn't say harmful spells. It just says everything. So, risk reward. Unless you're just targeting enemies that have buffs. All right, next we have Eyebite. What a name. Wow. Is that supposed to be a person about to bite a giant eye? So, Necromancy Spell. Targets one enemy creature within close range and it lasts 1 round per level. And as a standard action, each round you can target a single living creature, striking you with waves of power. Depending on the target's HD, This attack has as many as 3 effects. If the target's HD is 10 or more, it is sickened for 10 minutes per caster level. If the target is HDs are 5 through 9, so basically level 5 through 9, it is frightened and sickened for 10 minutes per caster level. If the target HD is 4 or less, it is paralyzed, frightened, and sickened. The effects are cumulative and concurrent for 10 minutes per caster level. You must spend a swift action each round after the first to target a foe. Interesting. All right. Next, we have Mass Fester. It's going to target all enemies within a 30-foot burst centered on a target point within close range. So again, you do not have to worry about targeting accidentally friends with this. Lasts 1 round per level or 1 round. Fortitude does a partial save. So the standard action, the spell functions as Fester, except that it affects multiple foes. Fester, for reference, is the necrotic energy permeates the target, blocking healing abilities. Subject gains spell resistance equal to 12 plus your caster level against effects that restore hit points or grant temporary hit points. The target succeeds on a Fortitude saving throw. Fester lasts only a single round. Interesting. Next, we have Hellfire Ray, Evocation Spell. Targets 1 enemy creature within close range. And then, as a standard action, a blast of Hellfire blazes from your hands. You can fire 1 ray plus 1 additional ray for every 4 caster levels beyond 11th level, to a maximum of 3 rays at 19th level. Each ray requires a ranged touch attack to hit and deals 1d6 points of damage per caster level, maximum 15d6. Half the damage is fire damage, but the other half results directly from unholy power and is therefore not subject to being reduced by fire resistance. All right, next we have Greater Heroism. Targets 1 friendly creature within close range and lasts 1 minute per level. Standard action, the spell functions like Heroism, except the creature gains a +4 morale bonus on attack rolls, saves, and skill checks, immunity to fear effects, and temporary hit points equal to your caster level, maximum 20. So normal Heroism is a +2. This doubles it. All right, next we have Mass Inflict Light Wounds. Necromancy spell affects all creatures within a 30-foot burst centered on a target point within close range. Will half if used damage. So again, friend and allies. Allies and enemies, rather, both targeted. Standard action. Negative energy spreads out in all directions from the point of origin, dealing 1d8 points of damage plus 1 point per caster level, maximum +25 to nearby living enemies. Like other Inflict spells, it cures undead in its area rather than damaging them. A cleric capable of spontaneously casting Inflict spells can also spontaneously cast Mass Inflict spells. All right, next. Ooh, I like the name of this one. Phantasmal Putrefaction. Illusion spell. Targets all enemies within a 30-foot burst centered on a target within medium range. Lasts 1 round per level and will then Fortitude partial saves. It's a standard action. You implant within the minds of your targets the illusion that their skin is rotting away. Large rents are apparently all over their bodies, and their internal organs are spilling out into putrid, half-liquid mass on their feet. Good. Those who fail to disbelieve Phantasmal Putrefaction immediately take 1d4 points of wisdom damage. This damage occurs only once. Each round after that, an affected target received another will save to disbelieve the effect, and targets that fail must succeed at a Fortitude save or faint, falling asleep as per sleep, except that it isn't a magical sleep effect. Waking up doesn't end the spell for a target. It must continue to attempt will saves to disbelieve the Fortitude saves to avoid fainting each round until the spell ends or the target successfully believes. So you could fall asleep, get like smacked, wake up, then still disbelieve that your guts are coming out and pass out again over and over again. It's kind of funny and brutal. All right, next we have Plague Storm. Man, that's another great name. Necromancy spell affects all creatures within a 20-foot burst centered on target point within medium range. It's going to last 1 minute per level with Fortitude saves negates. As a standard action, you create a hideous gray cloud similar to Fog Cloud that occasionally crackles with foul-smelling bolts of sickly green lightning. Creatures in the area must save or contract one of the following diseases: blinding sickness, bubonic plague, cackle fever, mind fire, or shakes. The disease is chosen by you when you cast a spell and applies to all creatures that fail to save. Normally, you'll have basically different icons. You click on a spell and it'll pop up a little submenu. Pick whichever one you want. Disease is contracted immediately. The onset period does not apply. And as an instantaneous effect, the victim also takes a -2 penalty on saving throws against diseases. Lovely. Unlike a fog cloud, this plague storm moves away from you at 10 feet per round, rolling across the surface of the ground. Blinding sickness effect. 1d4 strength damage. Target must make an additional fort save or be permanently blinded. Bubonic plague effect. 1d4 con damage and target is fatigued. Cackle fever. 1d6 wisdom damage. Mind fire. 1d4 intelligence damage. Shakes effect. 1d8 dexterity damage. Not nice. Not friendly at all. Next, we have Raise Dead, a conjuration spell. It also requires 1 diamond. Target 1 friendly creature within any range. Full round action. You restore life to a deceased party member. Raised creature has a number of hit points equal to its current hit die. Raise Dead also removes the death door condition. Coming back from dead is an ordeal. Subject to the spell gains 2 permanent negative levels when it is raised, just as if it had been hit by an energy draining creature, though cannot gain a number of negative levels equal or greater than its total hit dice this way. Creature whose permanent negative levels already equal its hit dice cannot be brought back from the dead through Raise Dead. Alright, next we have Slay Living. Necromancy spell. Targets 1 enemy creature within touch range. Fortitude save partial. Standard action. You can attempt to slay any 1 living creature. When you cast a spell, your hands seethe with eerie dark fire. You must succeed on a melee touch attack to touch the target. Target takes 12d6 points of damage plus 1 point per caster level. The target fortitude saving throw succeeds. It instead takes 3d6 points of damage plus 1 point per caster level. The subject might die from damage even if it succeeds at its saving throw. So, I mean, it's like 12d6. That's a lot. But, I mean, it doesn't insta-kill. So shouldn't this be, like, really, really, really hurt? Like, living? I don't know. Interesting. I'm guessing, I mean, technically, if you roll a perfect roll, that's 72 damage plus the damage level point. So, it's pretty good. All right, next. Stone to Flesh. It is a transmutation spell. Target 1 friendly creature with any range, so infinite range. Standard action, the spell restores a petrified creature to its normal state, restoring its life. Next, we have Summon Monster 6. It's a conjuration spell. Target point within close range. The monsters are going to last 1 round per level. Full action, spell summons 1d3 extra planar red caps. If you're evil, 1d3 extra planar Bralani Azadis. If you are not, or 1d4 plus 1 extra planar direwolves, or 1 extra planar soul eater if you are evil, or 1 extra planar axiomite if you are not. No idea what an extra planar axiomite is. Again, love to hear comments below if you know what they are. Summon monsters appear where you designate and act according to their initial check results. So, again, can't control them directly. They're going to move and attack to help you out. And probably run into things and get stuck on a bunch of terrain. All right, next we have Transformation. It is a transmutation spell. Personal range. Last 1 round per level. Standard action, you become a fighting machine, stronger, tougher, faster, and more skilled in combat, like the $6 million man. Your mindset changes so that you relish combat and you can't cast spells, even from magic items. You gain a +4 enhancement bonus to strength, dexterity, and constitution, a +4 natural armor bonus to AC, and a +4 competence bonus on fortitude saves. Now, do note it's saying enhancement bonuses, so this will not stack with like bull strength or anything like that. Some of these other transformation spells where you like transform into dragons or other animals, you'll notice they're going to be different types of bonuses. So that's one big downside to this, the fact that it is an enhancement bonus, and those are pretty common. Now, you also get proficiency with all simple and martial weapons. Now, here's the other big one. This is why this works for casters really well. Your base attack bonus equals your character level, which may give you multiple attacks. Basically gives you full BAB, just like a martial character. So that's a big, big deal for a caster that wants to go melee from time to time. All right. And then finally, we have True Seeing. It is a divination spell. Targets one creature within touch range. Lasts 1 minute per level. Standard action, you confer on the subject the ability to see all things as they actually are. The subject sees the exact locations of creatures or objects under blur or displacement effects. Sees invisible creatures normally. All right, guys. So those are all of the level 6 spells. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the level 7 witch spells. We're going to begin with Greater Bestow Curse, a necromancy spell. It targets one enemy creature within touch range. It is a permanent duration and will negates. Now, as a standard action, you place a cursor on the subject and choose one of the following. Greater Curse of Feeble Body. Subject suffers a -12 penalty to Constitution score. Greater Curse of Weakness. Subject suffers a -12 penalty to Strength and Dexterity scores. Greater Curse of Idiocy. The subject suffers a -12 penalty to Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma scores, and starts talking like, next, you have Greater Curse of Deterioration. Subject suffers a -8 penalty on attack rolls, saves, ability checks, and skill checks. Brutal. That's like, if you're strength-based, like the equivalent of 16 strength, technically. I mean, you don't get the other benefits of it, but I don't know. That seems pretty ridiculous. Okay, next we are going to have Chain Lightning, Evocation Spell, slightly famous. One enemy creature with long range gets as the initial target, reflects half damage. Standard action, the spell creates an electrical discharge, begins as a single stroke commencing from your fingertips. Unlike Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning strikes one object or creature initially, then arcs to other targets. The bolt deals 1d6 points of electricity damage per caster level, maximum 20d6 to the primary target. After it strikes, lightning can arc to a number of secondary targets equal to your caster level, maximum 20. The secondary bolt each strike one target and deal as much damage as its primary bolt. Each target can attempt a reflex save throw for half damage. Secondary targets must be within 30 feet of the primary target, and no target can be struck more than once. Pretty awesome and deadly. Next, we have Mass Cure Moderate Wounds. You can target all creatures within 30-foot burst centered on a target point within close range, and will have, if used to damage, save. Standard action, you channel positive energy to cure 2d8 points of damage +1 per caster level, maximum +30. I wonder if they're counting mythic levels separately, like 20 plus 10 mythic levels. That's the only thing I can think of. On each creature in the radius. Like other cure spells, Mass Cure Moderate Wounds deals damage to undead in its area rather than curing them. Each affected undead may attempt a will save for half damage. All right, next we have Harm. It's a necromancy spell. I think it's funny how Harm is a higher level spell than Slay. Just saying. Not saying it's more or less powerful by just because this is more powerful. But I would think, like, do you want to harm somebody or slay somebody? I would say slay sounds more deadly, but not true. Will half is used half if used to damage for saving throw. Standard action. Harm charges the subject with negative energy that deals 10 points of damage per caster level to a maximum of 150 damage at 15th level. So there's no rolling for this. This is just straight up 10 damage each. The creature successfully saves, Harm deals half the amount. If used on undead creatures, Harm acts like a heal. That's ridiculous. It's like, what, 15 D10s with perfect rolls guaranteed? Yeah, this should be called Destroy, not Harm. Heal. Speaking of which, this spell is a conjuration spell. Target one friendly creature within touch range. Will halves if used for damage. Standard action, heal, enables you to channel positive energy into a creature to wipe away injuries and afflictions. Immediately ends any and all of the following adverse conditions affected the target. Ability damage, blinded, confusion, dazed, dazzled, diseased, exhausted, fatigued, nauseated, poisoned, sickened, and stunned. Woo! Also cures 10 hit points of damage per level to the caster, maximum of 150 points at 15th level. Notice, don't have to make any saves or anything. This is no rolls, no saves. This should just like a miracle, not just a heal. Heal does not remove negative levels or restore permanently drained ability score points. If used against undead creatures, heal instead acts like harm. Next, Mass Hold Person. Enchantment spell affects all enemies within 30-foot burst centered on target creature within medium range. Don't got to worry about impacting your allies. Lasts 1 round per level or can save each round. Will negates each round. Standard action. The spell functions like Hold Person except it targets all hostile creatures within 30-foot radius from the target. As a reminder, Hold Person subject becomes paralyzed and freezes in place. It's aware and breathes normally but cannot take any actions, even speech. Each round they have a chance to save. Cool. Next, Ice. No, I'm not going to say it. Not going to do it. Ice Body. Transmutation. Personal effect. 1 minute per level duration. Standard action. Your form transforms into living ice, granting you several abilities, like being dropped in a cup to make a drink much more delicious. You gain immunity to cold, vulnerability to fire, and damage reduction 5 magic. You are immune to ability score damage, blindness, critical hits, disease, drowning, electricity, poison, stunning, and all spells or attacks that affect your physiologically or respiration. Because you have no physiology or respiration while this spell is in effect, you cannot drink and thus can't use potions. Yeah, you basically are a giant ice cube, guys. You can't drown. Can you melt? I don't know. Your unarmed attacks deal damage equal to a club size for 1d4 for small characters or 1d8 for medium characters, plus 1 point of cold damage, and you considered armed when making unarmed attacks. I just want to see summon Kool-Aid Man and then like combine your powers and be like, oh yeah. Amazing spell. I don't know if powerful, but I just love the theme. Hopefully it has a cool animation. All right. Next, guys, we have Mass Inflict Moderate Wounds. It's going to target all creatures within 30-foot burst centered on target point within close range. Will half if used to damage. It's a standard action. Negative energy spreads in all directions from a point of origin, dealing 2d8 points of damage plus 1 point per cast level maximum plus 30 to nearby living enemies. So there's either a way to make this so you get more than 1 point per level, or again, it may be counting 20 levels of normal progression and 10 levels of mythic progression, maybe. Like other inflict spells, it cures undead in an area rather than damaging them. Cleric capable of spontaneous casting inflict spells can also spontaneously cast mass inflict spells. Cool. Next, Insanity. Insane in a membrane. I can't wait to look at the next one. All right, Enchantment. 1 enemy creature within medium range is the target of Insanity. Will negates. Standard action. The affected creature suffers from a continuous confusion effect as the spell. Remove curse does not remove insanity. Greater restoration or heal can restore the creature. Confusion. The spell causes confusion in the targets, making them unable to determine their actions. Roll D100 and consult the following table at the start of each subject's turn each round to see what it does. 1 to 25, act normally. 25 to 50 does nothing but babble incoherently. 51 to 75 deals 1d8 points of damage plus strength modifier to self with items in hand. Stop hitting yourself. 76 to 100 attacks near creatures. For this purpose, a familiar counts as part of the subject's self. Very cool. All right, next we have Legendary Proportions. Yeah, it's going to turn you into Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's going to be wonderful. All right, it's a transmutation spell. You need a dinosaur bone. Of course you do. Targets 1 friendly creature within close range and lasts 1 minute per level. Standard action, you call upon the primordial power of ancient megafauna. Boost the size of your target. Because of its connection to living creatures of the distant past, the spell does not function on outsiders, undead, and summoned creatures. Your target grows to legendary proportions, increasing its size by 2 categories. Sweet. The creature's height doubles and its weight increases by a factor of 12. Target gains a +6 size bonus to strength score and a +4 size bonus to its constitution score. Gains +6 bonus to natural armor and DR10/adamantine. Melee range weapons used by this creature deal more damage. Yeah, they do. That's pretty awesome. All right, next. Poison Breath, guys. It's an evocation spell. All creatures within a 15-foot cone are targeted, friend or foe. Fortitude negates. Standard action, you expel a cone-shaped burst of toxic mist from your mouth, subjecting everyone caught in the area to a deadly poison as part of poison spell. Now, poison. Calling upon the venomous powers of natural predators, you inflict the subject of a horrible poison, making successful melee touch attack. The poison deals 1d3 constitution damage per round for 6 rounds. Poison creatures can make fortitude save each round to negate the damage and end the affliction. Cool. All right, next, guys, we got Power Word Blind. It is an enchantment spell. Target one enemy creature within close range. And standard action, you utter a single word of power that causes a creature to become blinded, whether the creature can hear the words or not. The duration of the spell depends on the target's current hit point total. Any creature that currently has 201 or more hit points is unaffected. 50 or less hit points, the effect is permanent. For 50 to 100, duration is 1d4 plus 1 minutes. For 101 to 200 hit points, duration is 1d4 plus 1 rounds. So, obviously, try and get the hit points down some before using it if you really want to get the most out of it. All right. Now we got Primal Regression. Love the picture. It's an enchantment. It targets all creatures within 30-foot burst. Center our target creatures within close range, friend or foe. Last 1 minute per level. And will negate. Standard action, spell sequesters the target's ability for higher reasoning, allowing their darker impulses to come to the fore. An affected target becomes a ravenous monster, savage, bloodthirsty, and brutish. Until the spell ends, the target have one of the following benefits and drawbacks. The target's intelligence and charisma score drop to 1, and they are unable to cast spells. Targets take a -4 penalty on will saves. The target gains a +6 enhancement bonus to strength, a +2 natural armor bonus to AC, and a 2d8 temporary hit points. These temporary hit points disappear at the end of the spell duration. When the spell ends, on next round, each affected creature must succeed at a will saving throw or take 1d4 points of intelligence drain and 1d4 points of charisma damage. So there's a give and take here. Very interesting. Okay, next we have Summon Monster 7, a conjuration spell. Target point within close range. Lasts 1 round per level. As a full round action, spell summons 1d3 extraplanar Soul Eaters if you're evil, or 1d3 extraplanar Exumites if you are not. 1d4 plus 1 extraplanar Red Caps if you are evil. 1d4 extraplanar Bralania Zaras if you are not. Or 1 Boogeyman. Summon monsters appear where you designate and act according to their initiative check results. You don't control them. They auto-attack. They do their best to path and normally fail. And will attack to help you out. Next, we got Communal True Seeing. Divination spell. It requires 10 diamond dust. It targets all allies within a 30-foot burst centered on a target creature within touch. Lasts 1 minute per level. Standard action. You and all allies within 30 feet are under True Seeing spell. That spell confers the subject the ability to see all things as they actually are. Subject sees the exact location of creatures or objects under blur or displacement effects. Sees invisible creatures normally. All right, next we got Umbral Strike, Necromancy spell. Targets one enemy creature within medium range. Lasts 1 round per level and Fortitude partially saves. Standard action, you create a bolt of dark energy and use it to make ranged touch attacks that ignore concealment, but not total concealment. If you hit, the target takes 1d6 points of damage per caster level, maximum 20d6. Half of the damage is cold damage and half of it is negative energy. Bolt's shadow expands and covers the target, rendering them blind for duration of spell. A successful Fortitude save halves damage and negates the blind condition. All right, next we're going to go for a walk with Walk Through Space. It is a conjuration spell, personal target range, and lasts 1 round per level. As a standard action, when under the effect of the spell, you can teleport up to 30 feet as a move action. You must end a movement in an unoccupied space that you can stand on within line of sight. Alternatively, you can spend a move action to teleport to a standard position from lying prone. Teleporting does not provoke attacks of opportunity. All right, and finally, we have Waves of Ecstacy. It's an enchantment spell, and all creatures within a 30-foot cone, friend or foe, are targeted. Lasts 1 round per level and will partially negates. As a standard action, you emanate waves of intense pleasure that cause all targets within range to falter. Affected creatures are stunned for 1 round and are staggered for the remainder of the spell. A creature that makes its will save is staggered for the first round and can act normally thereafter. All right, guys. So those are all of the level 7 witch spells. All right, guys. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the level 8 witch spells. We're going to start with Mass Cure Serious Wounds. The conjuration spell, and it targets all creatures within a 30-foot burst, centering on target point within close range. Will halves if used to damage. Now, as a standard action, you channel positive energy to cure 3d8 of points of damage, plus 1 point per caster level, maximum plus 35 on each creature in radius. Like other cure spells, Mass Cure Serious Wounds deals damage to undead in its area rather than curing them. Each affected undead may attempt a will save for half damage. Next, we have Death Clutch. It's a necromancy spell. Target one enemy creature within close range. And as a standard action, chanting an unholy litany, you reach out with a grasping motion towards your target and cause its heart to leap out of its chest and into your hands. Dude, this is like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but like telekinetically almost. Or if you like want to channel your inner Kano from Mortal Kombat. Options. Target with 200 or fewer hit points remaining that fails its save throw is instantly killed. Target of 201 or more hit points that fails its saving throw managed to keep its heart from leaping out of its chest. Nice. But it is still staggered for 1 minute and takes 1d4 points of constitution drain and 1d4 points of constitution bleed. Regardless of its current hit points, if the target succeeds its fortitude save, it is still staggered for 1 round as it feels its heart wrenching within its chest. That's pretty nice. Pretty brutal. Next, we have Frightful Aspect. It is a transmutation spell, a personal effect. Will last 1 minute per level. As a standard action, you become a larger, awful version of yourself. Takes on features that horrify your enemies. You gain the following abilities. Plus 6 size bonus to strength. Plus 4 size bonus to constitution. Plus 6 natural armor bonus. DR 10 / magic and spell resistance equal to 10 plus half your caster level. You also emit an aura that emanates 30 feet from you. Enemy creatures within the aura are shaken. Each time a creature shaken by this aura hits you with a melee attack, that creature becomes frightened for 1d4. Though at the end of the duration it is no longer affected by the aura's effect is a fear and mind affecting effect. Very cool. Next we have Horrid Wilting. It's a necromancy spell. It affects all creatures within a 40-foot burst, centering on target point within long range, and fortitude is half saves. So, standard action, spell evaporates moisture from the body of each subject living creature, causing flesh to wither and crack and crumble to dust. This deals 1d6 points of damage per caster level, maximum 20d6. This spell is especially devastating to water elements and plant creatures, which instead take 1d8 points of damage per caster level, maximum 20d8. Nice. Okay. Now we have Mass Inflict Serious Wound, necromancy spell. Targets all creatures within a 30-foot burst, centered on a target point within a close range. And will half if used to damage. Standard action. Negative energy spreads out in all directions for the point of origin, dealing 3d8 points of damage, plus 1 point per caster level, maximum plus 35. To nearby living enemies. Like other Inflict spells, it cures undead in an area rather than damaging them. Cleric capable of spontaneous casting Inflict spells can also spontaneously cast Mass Inflict spells. Nice. Next we have Mind Blank. Abjuration. One friendly creature within close range. Lasts 24 hours. Very specific. Standard action. This spell grants a +8 resistance bonus on saving throws against all mind-affecting spells and effects. That's pretty nice. If you know you're going to be going against an enemy that has a lot of those. Howard Stun. Enchantment spell. One enemy creature within close range target. And standard action. You utter a single word of power that instantly causes one creature of your choice to become stunned, whether the creature can hear the words or not. Duration of the spell depends on the target's current hit points. Any creature currently has 151 or more hit points is unaffected by Powered Stun. 50 or less hit points, the duration is 4d4 rounds. For 51 to 100 hit points, the duration is 2d4 rounds. For 101 to 150 hit points, the duration is 1d4 rounds. So pretty powerful. Prediction of failure. Of course, it's a divination spell. Target one enemy creature within close range. Duration permanent or 1 round per level. Will saves partially. Standard action. You rack the target's body and mind with the anguish and suffering of every bitter failure it will ever experience, rendering it permanently shaken and sickened. A successful will save reduces the duration to 1 round per level. Okay, next we have Rift of Ruin, a conjuration spell. Targets all creatures within a 10-foot burst centered on target point with long range. The duration is 1 round plus 1 round per level, and reflex saves negates. That was a standard action. The spell tears a rift in reality. Creatures in extra dimensional hole with a depth of 60 feet. Since the rift extends into the abyss, it does not displace the original underlying material or allow access to areas below the surface. You can create the rift on the deck of a ship as easy as in a dungeon floor or the ground of a forest. Any large or smaller creature standing in an area where you first conjured the rift must make a reflex saving throw to jump to safety in the nearest open space. In addition, the edge of this rift also sloped, and any creature ending its turn on a square adjacent to the rift must make a reflex save throw with +2 bonus to avoid falling into it. Creatures subject to an effect intended to push them into the rift, such as a bull rush, do not get a saving throw to avoid falling in. They are affected by the pushing effect. The walls of the rift are covered with razor-sharp blades, while the floor is seized with boiling pools of acid. Choose your poison, gentlemen. Strange chewing vermin, writhing shards of ice, and all manner of other chaotic and deadly manifestations of the abyss. A creature that falls into the rift takes 66 points of falling damage. Any creature in the rift, starting on the round it enters, takes an additional 66 points of damage from the rift's environs, even if the creature is merely climbing or flying within the rift rather than standing at the bottom. This additional damage changes from round to round and is randomly selected from acid, bludgeoning, cold, electricity, fire, piercing, slashing, or sonic. Each round, a creature in the rift can attempt a reflex save to take half damage the round. To climb the rift's walls, a creature needs a successful athletics or mobility skill check with a DC of 35. Wow. When the spell's duration ends, the rift snaps shut, violently expelling all creatures still within. These creatures take double damage from the rift's environs in that round and are knocked prone as they are returned to the surface above. Absolutely brutal. I love it. All right, next. We have Soulreaver, a necromancy spell. It targets all creatures in a 25-foot burst centered on a target point within close range. Targets friends and foes. Fortitude half saves. Standard action. The potent death spell deals 1d6 points of damage per caster level. Maximum 20d6 to living creatures in the area effect. Simple. Deadly. Next, we have Stormbolts, which is an evocation spell. Targets all enemies within a 30-foot burst centered on a caster. So that's, again, also great if you're getting surrounded. Will not affect your friends. Fortitude saves partially. Standard action. When you cast a spell, lightning spills forth from your body in all directions. Enemy creatures within the area take 1d8 points of electricity damage per caster level. Maximum 20d8 and are stunned for 1 round. Successful Fortitude saving throw halves the damage and negates the stun effect. And finally, we have Summon Monster 8. It's a conjuration spell, target point within close range. Monsters last 1 round per level. Full round action. The spell summons 1d3 extraplanar boogeymen, 1d4 plus 1 extraplanar soul eaters if you're evil, or 1d4 plus 1 extraplanar axiomites if you're not, or 1 frost giant if you're evil, and 1 Movanic Diva if you are not. Summon monsters appear where your destination and act according to the initiative check results. So, again, auto-attacking. Movanic Diva, what is that, like you summon Britney Spears or something? I don't know. Frost Giant sounds cooler, but I'm sure Movanic Diva is pretty nice. All right, guys. So those right there are all of your level 8 witch spells. All right, guys. Finally, we're going to look at the level 9 witch spells. And we are going to go ahead and begin by looking at Cure Critical Wounds. It's a conjuration spell and targets all creatures within a 30-foot burst centered on a target point within close range. Will halves if used to damage. Now, as a standard action, you channel positive energy to cure 48 points of damage, plus 1 points per caster level, maximum plus 40 on each creature in that radius. Like other cure spells, Mass Cure Critical Wound deals damage to undead in its area rather than curing them. Each affected undead may attempt a will save for half damage. Next, we have Dominate Monster, an enchantment spell targeting one enemy creature within a close range. It lasts 1 round per level and will negate where you get a save every level or every round. Full round action. The spell functions like Dominate Person, except that the spell is not restricted by creature type. And normally, Dominate Person would make any humanoid creature fight on your side as if it were your ally and attack your opponent to the best of its ability. Again, automatically attack. However, creature will try to throw off the domination, making will saves each round. Next, we have Foresight, a divination spell targeting one friendly creature within touch range, and it lasts 10 minutes per level. It's a standard action. Spell grants you a powerful 6th sense. You see dead people? Once Foresight is cast, you receive instantaneous warnings of impending danger or harm to the subject of the spell. You are never flat-footed. You get to be in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. In addition, the spells give you a general idea of what action you might take to best protect yourself and gives you a +2 insight bonus to AC and on reflex saves. Next, we have Heroic Invocation, an enchantment spell. Targets all allies within 30-foot burst centered on a target point within close range and lasts 10 minutes per level. Full round action. Using words of ancient power, you bestow heroic powers on all creatures subject to the spell. They gain a +4 morale bonus on attack and damage rolls, gain 2d8 +4 temporary hit points, and become immune to both fear and charm effects for the spell's duration. Quite nice. Next, we have Mass Hold Monster. Affects all enemies within 30-foot burst centered on target creature within medium range. Again, no need of worrying about it hitting our allies. Lasts 1 round per level, can save each round, and will negates each round. Standard action. Spell functions like Hold Person, except targets all hostile creatures within a 30-foot radius from the target and holds any living creature that fails its will save. And as per Hold Person, subject becomes paralyzed and freezes in place. It is aware and breathes normally, but cannot take any actions, even speech. Each round they're going to have a chance to save a new saving throw to end the effect. All right, next we have Mass Inflict Critical Wounds, Necromancy Spell. Targets all creatures within 30-foot burst, centered on target point within close range. Will half is if used to damage as far as saves go. It's a standard action. Negative energy spreads out in all directions from the point of origin. Dealing 48 points of damage plus 1 point per caster level, maximum plus 40 to nearby living enemies. Like other inflict spells, if it cures undead in its area rather than damage them. Cleric capable of spontaneous casting inflict spells can also spontaneously cast mass inflict spells. Next, we have Communal Mind Blank, personal spell, lasts 4 hours. Standard action. The spell functions like Mind Blank, except it affects all party members, and it lasts 4 hours. Mind Blank, for reference, is a spell that grants +8 resistance bonus on saving throws against all mind-affecting spells and effects. Next, we have Polar Midnight, a transmutation spell. It targets all creatures within 30-foot burst, centered on target within close range, so friend and foe. Lasts 1 round per level, and Fortitude partially saves. Standard action, you plunge an area into the brutal chill of the Arctic night. All creatures in the area take 5d6 points of cold damage and 1d6 points of dexterity damage per round. Successful Fortitude save each round negates the dexterity damage, but not the cold damage. Next, we have Power Word Kill. Enchantment spell. You target one enemy creature within close range. It's instantaneous. And as a standard action, you utter a single word of power that instantly kills one creature of your choice, whether the creature can hear them or not. Any creature that currently has 101 or more hit points is unaffected by Power Word Kill. So outside of spell resistance, there's no saves on this. If you get the enemy under 101 hit points, it's going to die. Next, we have Summon Monster 9. Conjuration spell. Targets punch within close range, and the monsters last 1 round per level. It's a full round action. This spell summons 1d3 extraplanar frost giants if you're evil, and 1d3 extraplanar Movanic divas if you are not. So apparently it summons a girl band. 1d4 plus 1 boogeyman, or 1 Thana demon if you're evil, and 1 Gale Azada if you're not. Summon monsters appear where you designate and act according to their initiative checks results. Again, will auto attack and path to help you out. And this is the highest form of summon monster spells. Next, we have Wail of the Banshee. It's a necromancy spell, and on all creatures within a 40-foot burst, centered on target point within close range. Again, hits friends or foe. Be careful. Fortitude negates, and as standard action, when you cast a spell, you emit a terrible, soul-chilling scream that possibly kills creatures that hear it, except for yourself. Inflict 10 points of damage per caster level. So pretty powerful. And finally, the final spell is going to be Soulreaver, a necromancy spell. All creatures within 25-foot burst, centered on target points within close range, friends or foe, so be careful again. Saving throw, Fortitude halves. Standard action, the potent death spell deals 1d6 points of damage per caster level, maximum 20d6 to living creatures in the area effect. So massive AoE damage. All right, guys, so that concludes the second portion and basically the remainder of the witch spells that they get baseline as they level up as options. I hope you guys found this video really helpful. If you've been following through and you're enjoying this content, might be perfect time to not only drop a like, but if you want to motivate me to make even more of these, help me out, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified the moment new videos drop. Again, thank you for all your support. Thank you for those comments. Anytime you guys have questions, I do my very best to answer to. So feel free to reach out to me in comments below if you have requests, especially if you want to give me feedback on which classes I should cover next when it comes to spells. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much. Again, this is Leroy with Leroy Gaming, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video.